Hey everybody, welcome to our Wednesday night team call. It's a special event because we have an incredible guest, Miss Autumn Calabrese. But super excited because not only tonight do we have our coaches, but we have our 80-day obsession challengers on the call as well. So we are super pumped, and actually a lot of you guys decided to become brand new coaches. So we're super pumped for you to not only be on your first coach call, right, but to be here in front of the trainer herself and get some of your hesitations relieved, some of your questions answered, and to get you amped up and pumped up for January 15th. So we have an incredible sneak peek going on with over 400 people. We have an official challenge group with over 250 people. So we are so excited to get started with prep week on January 8th. But just to give you a little bit of background, Autumn she's my go-to girl for fitness. Like, I've tried so many other trainers. I actually started with Shanti and Insanity, and then Autumn came into the Beachbody family, and I was like, yes, thank you. But what she does totally transforms my body, and I'm kind of a big cheerleader for her programs, and I share it with my audience like crazy because it has changed so many women's lives. And I say women because that's a lot of people who I connect with, other moms, but I can tell you there's a lot of dudes out there who are rocking this as well. So Autumn, we love you. We are so excited. I don't want to talk anymore because I want to capitalize our time on just you and not just Hannah talking. So I'll give you the floor because I know you have a spiel, and then we have some questions that the challengers wrote down to ask you, and I'll ask those when you're done.
Okay, so because we have coaches and challengers on, which is fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And because there's so much information already out, obviously, about 80-day obsession, about a little obsessed, about timed nutrition. You guys have a great coach on here who's went through the program and has been talking about it. I want to make sure that that our time together tonight is used to the best of our ability to inform you guys in whatever way is best. What I have found to work great is to start actually with the questions, and it leads to really good talk and conversation. So Jatana, if you want to do that, we can start there. Just because I don't want to ramble too much and be like, 80-day obsession is an 80-day program. You know, like, I don't want to hit them with the stuff they already know. I'd rather address the concerns. And if you guys have other questions that come up while I talk, just type them in the chat, and hopefully we'll hit everybody's sort of questions and comments and concerns while we go through it.
Awesome sauce. All right, well, we have a good list here. The first one is from Jamie Smith, and she is training for a half marathon, but she's super excited to do this program. Her schedule with her marathon is all scheduled out, and she's just wondering how she can integrate doing 80-day obsession, the meal plan, and train for her half marathon at the same time.
Yeah, so I get this one a lot because we are coming up on marathon training season right now. So it's totally doable. What you need to realize is you're probably going to need to eat in at least the maintenance bracket, if not one bracket above that, because marathon training usually involves a lot of long runs. In addition to, obviously, the 80-day obsession workouts, you want to make sure you're giving your body enough fuel. So that's going to be really important. The other thing to keep in mind is that, so the other question I get is like, well, where do I put the workout block? With the 80-day obsession nutrition or with the marathon run? You put it with the 80-day obsession workout. So even if you're going to go do a second workout, you're going to go teach a class, you're going to go do a run, whatever it might be, your workout block stays with the 80-day obsession workout, because that was how I designed the fuel going in, and the fuel to recover was specifically for that workout. So your other fuel out throughout the day will take care of the other stuff, but you want to keep the workout block with the 80-day obsession program. So yeah, you can do it. Like I said, you're going to eat in maintenance, and you're going to keep the workout block with the 80-day obsession workout.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, this is probably something that a lot of nurses have a question about. This Jana is a night shift nurse, and she works 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and she's just trying to figure out how to do the program and follow the nutrition. Any tips or advice?
Yeah, so here's the thing, you guys. We all essentially get the same, like, I don't know, what do we wait for? 16, 18 hours, depending on how much sleep we get. we all get the same amount of sort of wake hours usually in a day, give or take an hour or two. So whenever you wake up is when your day starts. So even if you're waking up at 6 o'clock at night to start your day because you're going to work at 7 p.m. or whatever, maybe you're waking up at 5 p.m. because you got to be at work by 7. Your day starts at 5 p.m. That's when your day starts because you're about to be awake for the next however many hours. So you're going to still follow it the exact same way. You're still going to eat every 2 to 3 hours the exact same way. If you're eating before you go to work, then you follow the workout block for early morning, workouts because it's your morning, right? And then everything falls in line otherwise. I know sometimes the biggest thing that I hear from the nurses is, well, it's hard to eat every 3 hours. And I definitely get that. Obviously, you should be getting a lunch break. You should also be getting 2 15-minute breaks. I think it's 30 minutes plus 2 15s when you work a 12-hour shift. I don't remember. It's been a minute. But you should be getting a couple of breaks in there. So if you're eating every 3 hours and you eat right before you get to work, and then you eat 3 hours later on a break, then you eat 3 hours later on lunch, and then you eat 3 hours later on a break, the next time you eat 3 hours again, you should be pretty close to finishing your shift. The thing is you're going to need to bring food with you. And that goes for everybody and anybody, whether you're a nurse at a hospital or you work at a desk at a 9 to 5 job, whatever it is, you're going to need to meal prep. You're going to need to bring food with you because if you don't, it's going to be a lot harder to make sure you're getting your exact right containers for each meal, right? Like if you're going out every single day to buy lunch or something, it's going to start to get tricky. Like, oh, was that 1 slice of bread or 2? Or like, what does that count at? Is that a yellow? Do you think that was a red? I wonder how much oil they used to cook that. So you're going to want to be prepared, bring some sort of lunchbox with you and that sort of thing. But you can do it as long as you plan it out. Somebody said 2 15 minutes and 1:30 exceeds 12. You would get another 30. So yeah, so you should be getting a couple of time periods in there where you can eat. So if you bring your food with you, you're good to go. Just make sure you're meal prepping and you should be all right.
Awesome sauce. This question, I know she's not on because she's in the UK and she's probably sleeping, but this is my coach's Victoria. She thought about actually staying up. But she says, what was your biggest surprise while filming this live?
While filming it live, like what happened live that was surprising. I lost my mic pack doing donkey kicks and like had to catch it midair and keep going during cardio. So that was super fun. But believe it or not, there was one day too, actually, I just did this workout the other day where we were like mid-workout. And you have to remember when we were filming, it was August, September, and October. So it was really hot here. And I kept hearing this noise and I looked up and there was this bug like
I remember that.
by a light. And this thing was like, it was just big. And I was like, if it comes near me, I'm running. So just be prepared. Like, I'm going to keep going, but if it comes anywhere near me, I'm running. So that was something that like, but for the most part, like our live filming went off without a hitch. We really didn't have issues on the set. And in terms of my biggest surprise, I think with the program was how quickly people's mindset started to change. Like I knew their mindset would start to change, but I think with the coach test group, I mean, in the first 3 or 4 days, I was getting people saying like, oh my gosh, I sleep better. I feel better. I have more energy. I'm more organized in my business because I had to get organized with my food and my workout. So I had to figure out like when exactly I was going to do my business stuff. So I think just how quickly the mind shift happens with the program was surprising, but in a really awesome way. Because the sooner that happens, I feel like the more into it you get.
I think that's one of my favorite things about this program when you do it and you're watching it live. I know that it's pre-recorded now for everybody else, but it's so neat to it feels like you're there. You get to see another side of you that's totally different than what we saw with 21 Day Fix or 21 Day Fix Extreme. It's just the cast is involved. You're laughing in the middle of the workout, trying to focus on your abs, but you're giggling because you guys are joking around.
It happens all the time. They tortured me. They would make me laugh so hard, and you can't hold yourself up in plank and laugh hysterically. It just doesn't happen. So
that was one of my favorite parts also. All right, let me get back to it. Okay. Selena asked, what are the best shoes to wear for the program?
A cross trainer, like any kind of cross trainer is ideal. That's usually what I have on. However, a few of my pair of Nikes are technically considered running shoes, but for me, they work. Like for the width of my foot, for the way my foot is, like they just work. They support me really great. But ideally, the type of training we're doing is considered cross training. So the type of shoe you would want would be a cross trainer.
Yeah. And I did notice that one pair of my shoes, they were Nikes, they're cross trainers, but they were less traction on the bottom of the shoe, and my bands had a hard time sticking to them than the ones that were really grippy. So I think the days that we do like booty, where we're going to do it using a lot of the loops, the more grippier your shoes are, the better, the better to stay on.
Exactly.
The better to stay on. Okay. All right. Andrea, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Andrea, or I would, and I don't want to butcher it, but she says, if we have no weight to lose, do we have to calculate our bracket with a deficit included?
No, you would calculate your bracket in the maintenance bracket. And you would see how you feel. And you might even end up eating a bracket above your maintenance, but start in maintenance, and see how you feel. And then in phase 2, we recalculate and the formula gets adjusted ever so slightly. So you're always going to just want to take stock in how you feel, you guys. Whenever we write nutrition and the formulas and all of that, we're sort of writing for the masses, but that doesn't mean that, there's not always going to be an exception to the rule. And so you have to be aware of that, and you really need to tap into your body and learn your body and connect with yourself and know how you feel. Is this enough fuel for me? Isn't it enough fuel for me? I am very in tune with all of this stuff with myself, which is I eat in bracket C. That's technically a bracket above my maintenance. If I tried to eat in bracket B, forget it. I would kill somebody. My blood sugar plummets and I'm like, I can't function. It's really not cute. So, but I know that about me. I know I eat. I've always been like that since I was a kid. I can't go more than 3 hours without food. So start to pay attention to how your body feels. Start to pay attention to when you're losing the weight and what that looks like on you and all of those things, because that's going to help you adjust where you land. You don't want to be adjusting every day or every, week even, but you want to be aware of what's going on with your.
Ashley somebody needs to mute their line. Also, if you don't unmute, you have unmuted line, try to mute your line. But Ashley posted in the chat, and I don't know how to pronounce this word. You're more of a yes.
Advise anyone who has diastasis recti in regards to doing 80-day session modification, do it to your ability. It depends on how big what diastasis recti is, for you guys who don't know. It's a separation in your abdominal wall. Usually happens a lot of times it'll heal itself and go back. However, if the separation is bigger than 2 fingers width wide, that's usually something that won't heal itself and probably requires surgery to get it back together. The nice thing about core work in 80-day obsession is there is hardly any crunching at all. Almost all of the core work is plank work. And plank work is actually the best thing that you can do for diastasis recti to try to get it to come back together. However, you need to make sure that you're still holding your abdominals in, right? You want to pull your belly button and your muscles up into your sort of spine, is the way I describe it, so that you're not bearing down and pushing out when you're in plank, because if you're doing that, then you're still pushing forward and you could push your intestines through the separation, and that's that's where the hernia comes from, if you end up getting a hernia from it. So that's why it would be dangerous. So plank work is great. Always good to check with your doctor. Modify when you absolutely need to, obviously. But again, if your doctor says no, then it's no, and you need to wait until you're healed.
Rosa says, I'm on plan A. I still feel really hungry. What should I do if I want to lose 30 pounds?
Get off plan A. So if you're on plan A and you're feeling really hungry, you probably need to be eating more. It's not always calories in, calories out. That's sort of an old school mentality. And it kind of works, but it's not the only thing to take into consideration anymore. And so when you're working out really hard is one of those times, and you're building lean muscle, it's one of those times where you might need to eat a little bit more. So you might be at too big of a deficit for bracket A, and try moving up to bracket B and see how you feel. And hopefully that should help.
I think I know the answer to this next question, but I'm going to let you say it. Laura asked, can people modify and follow meal plan?
It's not so much meal plan. I really don't recommend 80-day obsession for pregnant women. It's my only program that I don't recommend for pregnant women. It's a really intense program, you guys. Your heart rate goes up, it stays up. We work out on our back a lot. You're not really supposed to be on your back after 14 weeks pregnant. We do a lot of balance training in this program. And balance is something that goes pretty quick when you're pregnant because your joints relax and they spread. And putting loops around your legs and doing side squats or duck walks or things like that and having balance issues, not ideal. So this is just one of those ones that while I love all of my pregnant mommies' enthusiasm to do it, I just want you to be safe and have an amazing, healthy pregnancy and childbirth, and save this for after the baby's out and after the baby's sleeping through the night, because sleep is really important. There's just so many things too that happen during pregnancy. Your hormones are all over the place. Like first trimester, you just feel awful. You can't eat, right? Like whatever, like we have so many weird food cravings and you feel nauseous. So like trying to follow this specific nutrition plan and timed eating and feeling that bad I couldn't even imagine it. I remember it was like 3:00 on the dot when I was pregnant with Dominic. It was like, nope, I was like a gremlin. It was like, no more food after 3 p.m. or you'll get sick. And that just was what it was for the first trimester. So it would be kind of hard to do if you're feeling all of those things. I don't want you to get discouraged. So, yeah.
So Becky Nicholson asked, and I love this question, and I think I messaged Carl the same question. Will we get an app to help us sort through our life and 80-day obsession at the same time?
Not right now. There is not an app in the work right now. You know, when it comes to our technology, we have so much stuff that is sort of a bigger priority, right? Not that it wouldn't be amazing to have it. It's just sort of picking and choosing what is the most important thing first. So maybe one day sooner than later there will be one, but for now we have the tracker sheets, and that's really great to use and print one of those and take it with you. I can tell you guys this thing, and I'm sort of only showing you the workout block. Oh wait, my screen. Oh, never mind. Okay, so you know how the chart you guys got for a little obsessed nutrition? Well, when you get your chart for 80-day obsession, it's just the full plan. I have my chart on my phone, and 2, I always had a hard copy with me in my lunchbox as well. So I knew where I was every day. Like, oh, yep, pre-workout meal, great, did that. Post-workout meal, okay, got that. Meal 1, okay, next. Like, so I always knew where I was at. It's just a really good idea, because the nice thing is when you're following it, yeah.
Let's play piano. Nicole, can you get that line? She got it.
You know, when you're using the container system and you're sort of following it like 21-day fix style or portion fix style, where you're making up your own meals and that sort of thing, and you have to be like, oh my God, wait, what did I have? I had a red and a green. What do I have left? Okay, I've got all these containers left. You don't have to worry about that really with 80-day obsession nutrition, because I've put all your containers together. So you don't have to remember what's left. And you will very quickly remember all 5 of your meals. You're like, oh, post-workout meal is red, yellow, green teaspoon. Okay, like meal option 1 is this, this, and this. Like you just learn it very fast. So like I said, keep it on your phone, but I don't think that there's an app coming right now.
Yeah, I think the best advice that I had with doing the test group was I set timers on my phone. And so at 7 a.m., it said Shakeology. And actually, a lot of the girls are putting the colored hearts to show which container they're supposed to have when their alarm goes off.
Right.
So what's the best time to drink Shakeology? Jessica Parcel asked that.
When's the best time to drink Shakeology?
Most ideal time, yeah, to drink Shakeology.
There's no such thing as an ideal time, you guys. It's whenever it fits for you, right? And that would be like when's being the best time to eat a piece of chicken. It's Shakeology is a red. So wherever it fits ideally for you, like if you need a lighter meal before your workout and you want to make Shakeology the red that counts towards your protein before your workout, then that's the ideal place for you. If you know at 3 o'clock in the afternoon you get a strong craving for something sweet and chocolatey, then maybe you save it for that meal time because it kind of helps curb that craving. Or same thing, if you get that craving at night, like, and you save it for that. So there's no ideal like Shakeology should be first thing in the morning or Shakeology should be here. It's just whatever works best for you.
Okay. Victoria asked, what about the rest days? How does the nutrition look like on rest day?
So it's the same. The only thing that you don't have on rest day is the performance line. And in the guidebook, which, you know, you guys will hear me say it a million times, be it on my social media or in the coach test group or whatever, I'm going to tell you guys to like look at your guide, read your guide, and know your guide, because we really like try to preemptively strike and answer all these questions so that if it comes up and you didn't hear it on a coach call, it is answered in there. So there is a sample day of what your rest day nutrition looks like, minus obviously the performance line. And on your rest day, because you don't have a workout block, you can just put those 2 meals sort of wherever you want them to fall in the day because it's just rest day. So it's not like, okay, it still has to be at this time or it has to be at this time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm reading the little questions on the side.
Okay.
Let's see. Ashley said, I teach live classes on Wednesdays and I have 2 classes on top of 80-day obsession. What sort of upping of calorie intake do you advise?
She said she teaches how many classes? Wait, I was trying to.
I teach live classes on Wednesdays. Yeah. And I have 2 classes on top of 80.
2 classes on top of 80-day obsession. So 2 classes and then the live class. So it's 3 classes a week. Am I understanding that right?
That's what I'm reading.
Okay. It depends on how intense you teach, meaning are you doing the full workouts with them? But even with it being 3 classes a week, it shouldn't be absolutely necessary to adjust anything in the nutrition. But again, this is one of those times where you need to see how you feel. Like if doing those 3 workouts in addition to the 80-day obsession workouts leaves you feeling starving all the time, then you should move up to your maintenance bracket if you're in weight loss. And a lot of times, you guys, the one thing, and I explain this a little bit in 80-day obsession, and I'll explain this a lot on my Facebook page once we get into the program. So depending on where you fall in your calorie range will depend on if your maintenance level is 1 bracket above or 2 brackets above. So let's say you do your calculation and you're at the very bottom of bracket A. Then when you do your maintenance calculation, you're going to fall probably somewhere in bracket B, okay? But if you do your calculation, your weight loss calculation, and you're at the very top of bracket A, then when you do your maintenance calculation, you could end up in C. So don't panic if that happens. Your maintenance is in fact level C. The numbers don't lie. That's where you're at. But you can do stepping stones up to it. So let's say you've been eating an A. Your maintenance tells you your maintenance plan is C. And that sort of scares you. You can move up to bracket B, see how you feel. Because that still has you at a little bit of a weight loss, right? But not quite as significant of a deficit as the original one. And then if you're in bracket B for 2 weeks and you're like, nope, still hungry, then you fully go up to maintenance, so you don't have to panic and just be like, oh my gosh, it's extremes, or like I'm scared to eat over here. You just do your baby steps and you get there slowly but surely. That make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think one of the number 1 questions that I've gotten as a coach is I work out at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. How do I fit that pre-workout meal?
So this is something, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we just made a couple little updates to the A Little Obsessed nutrition. We did it yesterday. So if you didn't see it, if you haven't looked at the nutrition since yesterday, go back in and look at it. Because in 80-day obsession, we covered the early morning workout person in a little bit more detail. But with A Little Obsessed, when we first released it, we were just like, we're just giving them the workout block. Here it is. And we should have put some more verbiage in there and been a little bit more clear with some things for the early morning workout people. So we took what we did in 80 Day Obsession and added that in even more to A Little Obsessed. So basically what you're going to see is now it's the workout block, and below the workout block you see meal option 1 and the containers that go with meal option 1. And the wording goes a little something like this. Don't quote me completely, but it essentially is this. If your pre-workout meal is too much food for you, you can swap it out with meal option 1. If you're going to eat less than an hour before you work out, just allow yourself enough time to digest. So basically, I'm giving you permission to not have to eat an hour to an hour and a half before your workout. I'm just telling you to be smart about it and give yourself enough time to digest a little so you don't puke when you go into your workouts. I can tell you guys, I don't wait an hour to an hour and a half from the time I do my pre-workout meal till working out. In fact, I might wait 5 minutes. That's me. I can eat the biggest breakfast you've ever seen, step right into the gym and start working out hardcore, and I'm totally fine. In fact, that's when I have the most energy. And if I wait an hour and a half from the time I had my pre-workout meal till my workout, I will gas out halfway through the workout and be like, I need food. When is this going to be over? I just have a really fast metabolism. I burn. And so I can't wait that long. The reason it's written to wait an hour to an hour and a half before is 1, so you don't puke, and 2, so that all the blood isn't in your stomach digesting your food when you're working out. It's going to your muscles where we want it. So again, you can now make adjustments. Meal option 1 is a smaller meal. Meal option 1 was designed where it could be your Shakeology meal if you want to. That's much faster to make, much easier, fast to drink and digest. And you eat within whatever time frame you need to eat before starting your workout, just so you don't get sick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's nodding their head, so I'm like, all right, we're good. I like head eyes.
So Cindy Lananga said, do you recommend Shakeology twice a day? Busy mom and trying to figure out how to best get my pre-workout meal in, and I have a killer late afternoon cravings.
Okay. It's not ideal to have it twice a day. I tell people I use that more as a pinch, right? Like you're traveling or you're running around and you're like, oh crap, I forgot a meal. But I have an extra Shakeology packet, so I'll just have this as like a bind. Not that it's bad. It's not bad, but I still want you to be eating the real food, right? Like the whole food. So ideally you have it once a day and you only do the twice a day when you're in a bind. In terms of getting your pre-workout meal in, you guys, it's the same thing about being prepared. So I always have stuff prepared. Okay, first of all, let me just say this. I love eggs. Like eggs are my favorite food in the whole wide world. Love them. Ate them every day for breakfast for like the last 8 years. And sometimes I ate them twice a day. And then 8 months ago, I found out that I'm severely allergic to eggs. They cause major inflammation in my body and I can't have them anymore. Okay. Literally, I'm like, what do I do for breakfast? Like, I can't tell you. I was like in a tizzy about this. I called Bobby. I called my brother and I was like, help me, I need breakfast food. Like, because for me, it was so easy. It was 2 eggs. No matter how I decided to prepare them, it was always 2 eggs. And then it was my carbs. So sometimes it was a piece of toast. Sometimes it was oatmeal. Sometimes I would make fix-ate pancakes or something. But the protein was covered. Now I don't have that option. So I had to get really, really creative with my breakfast food. Bobby has a really great fix-ate breakfast sausage recipe, and it's just made out of ground turkey, but then you flavor it to taste like breakfast sausage. So sometimes I do that in a pan like as ground turkey. Sometimes I make them into like little breakfast sausage patties. I always make oatmeal, but sometimes I'll do a piece of toast or something like that. So I don't know what just happened. Somebody shared their screen.
Ellie, I think you screen shared accidentally. Can you unscreen share, Ellie? LEG? We can see your Insta story going down there.
Yes. What's up? So I always have things prepared so that when I get up for breakfast in the morning, it's not like this crazy, like, what am I going to make? Like I said, I always have that breakfast sausage on hand. Sometimes I'll make different versions of the Fix8 pancakes. But I'm also a person who just, like, I love food, but I don't really have a time of day thing for food, okay? Like, what I mean by that is I can eat what most people would consider like lunch or dinner food for breakfast, and it doesn't bother me in the least. Like, I can eat chicken for breakfast, so sometimes I'll saute up chicken and veggies and eat that with my toast on like a side of toast or whatever. Like, that doesn't bother me. Or I'll do some sort of like quinoa bowl with like bok choy in there, or maybe I'll saute up some tofu or whatever. So I just always have options on hand. So being busy makes it harder, but it doesn't make it impossible. It just means you need to be more prepared. You guys, if anybody has been busy for the last 7 or 8 months, I promise it's been me. And it's not always easy. Then there have been times where I've screwed it up and just been like, oh crap, I'm without food, like, and I'm running to the grocery store, calling my assistant to go grab me something. So I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm just saying the more you try, the easier it'll get.
All right. Sorry about the screen. Ellie, if you're on, if you could stop screen sharing, or Nicola, if you want to remove Ellie from the.
I'm trying. I really am. I can't find her. She like disappeared. I'm working.
That's okay. Thank you. So share with us, I know this is going to be a huge mountain. I know it was for the coach test group. We were all like, oh my gosh, we have to eat dirty carbs. Like, oh my gosh, this refeed day, I'm going to go eat a cheeseburger. I know for me personally, I'm the kind of, I'm an all or nothing mentality kind of person. And I try so hard to overcome it, because the minute I'm like, I treat myself, I go off the deep end and I go bananas, and I'm like eating cheesecake. All kinds of things. So the refeed day was psychologically freaky for me, because I was doing so well for 6 weeks. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, now you're going to splurge a little. And I started to learn what splurging meant. You know, we redefined it. It wasn't what I had in my head it was going to be. So can you give us your advice on how to approach these refeed days, and maybe share? I don't think a lot of challengers really understand what it's all about.
Yeah, so, you know, a refeed day really is not a cheat day. So that's the one thing to remember. It's a very specific, scheduled refeed. It's designed in a way that, so what happens is when we're working out this hard for this long, we start tapping into our muscle glycogen stores. Like, our muscles all have a certain amount of sugar, glycogen, stored in them, right? And that's important for our muscles functioning at optimum levels and for recovery and all of these things. When you're at a calorie deficit and working out this hard, eventually you tap into those stores and you start to deplete them. So by having a scheduled specific refeed day, you are able to replenish those stores so that you can continue to move through your workouts with optimum strength, optimum endurance, recover from them optimally. So that's why you don't see refeed day even introduced until week 6. Because we don't need it until week 6. We need to get to a point of actually having been at a deficit and depleting our muscles before we have to replenish our muscles. So it's not a cheat day. It's not a free-for-all. I still tell you what containers go at what meal. You do get a bump in your carbohydrates, meaning you get more yellows and a little more purple for the day. You get a little less fat for the day, so things are still getting balanced. And what you're getting by doing that is what we call dirty yellows, okay? So like, there's a list and it's called your supplemental yellow list, and there's things like the Fix8 brownies or the chocolate chip cookies or pretzels or like a half a bagel, like things are on there. And on refeed day, you do want to eat from that yellow list. It's really important because that's how we replenish those glycogen stores. It always happens the day before leg day, because by the time your body takes all that sugar up, then we go into our leg day workout and you use that fuel to optimize your results. So refeed day is much more scientific, much more planned out and scheduled than just have a free-for-all for a day to just take your mind off of things. And like I said, it's only every 2 weeks, so it only happens 4 times. And for a lot of people who struggle with clean eating for 80 days, it's a nice little mental break for that 24-hour period to be like, oh, I can just enjoy something and not feel like I did bad, I did wrong. It was like, oh, I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental break for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody asks, and this is a great question, can you explain to us the phases of the workout and how they progress?
Yeah, so there's 3 phases plus peak week. So each phase has 6 types of workouts. It's leg day, butt day, total body core, cardio flow, and triple A. Triple A is arms, abs, and your butt. And so within those 6 workouts, we also break down week by week different rep schemes and and amount of weight that we're using. So in week 1, it's what I refer to as a 2x15 rep scheme, meaning you go through the whole workout once, doing 15 reps of every exercise, stop and do it again. In week 2, we move up to a 3x10. So this is a little bit heavier lift. Go through the whole workout, doing 10 reps of everything, circle back to the top, do it 2 more times. In week 3, we stay in that 3x10, so that heavy lift, but instead of going through the whole workout, you do either 2 or 3 moves, depending on the workout, 3 times in a row, which is definitely harder because it's going to burn that muscle group out faster before you move on to the next couple of exercises. And then same thing for week 4. It's a 2x15, so we go back to our medium weight, but we keep that pattern where it's 2 or 3 exercises, 15 reps in a row before moving on to the next group. So you see, even within each phase, week by week, I'm making it progressive with the amount of weight and the way we're stacking our reps. And then phase 2 and phase 3 have those same workout types, but the moves become more compound, meaning sometimes you're doing 2 moves in one. They become a little bit more complex where you're working the body a little bit harder, and they build off of each other. So, what you learn in phase 1 gives you the strength to do what we do in phase 2 or what we do in phase 3. In phase 1, we might be doing just a regular hip hinge, where in phase 2 you're doing a squat to a hip hinge. So that takes longer time, you're holding the weight longer, you're working more muscles at once. So that's how we progress it. So there's a lot that happens to make it progressively harder month by month. Then peak week 13 is 2 workouts from every phase, and they're what I kind of consider my favorite workouts / the hardest workouts from phase to put us into peak week. And there is an option for peak week nutrition where we do carb cycling if you did 21 Day Fix Extreme. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, it's just there for the people who are looking for that extra shred. So that's sort of how the phases work. No worries.
Jamie Cougar asks, can Shakeology be in place of your Recover Shake?
No. Recover is very different, and Recover is very specific to doing just that, recovering from a workout. So there's L-glutamine, and there's certain things like BCAAs. There's certain components to the recovery formula that are designed to help your muscles recover. Shakeology is very much, although legally we're not allowed to call it a meal replacement shake, essentially it's that. There's vitamins, there's nutrients, there's phytonutrients, there's adaptogens, there's all of these things in Shakeology that are more than just what's in the supplement of Recover to help your muscles start recovering. So they're not the same thing. That's just the bottom line, is they're very different. So if you're not using the performance line and you choose to put your Shakeology as part of your post-workout meal for your that's fine, but it's just still not the same thing, or you wouldn't have 2 Shakeologies instead of having a Recover.
Absolutely. Courtney is a vegan and she can't have Recover. What should she do to switch out?
So obviously we don't have a vegan line. I get it. There's other brands that are great vegan options that have really good performance line options. I'm not technically supposed to list off brands that are our competitors. So just when you look for it, you guys, just make sure there's not a bunch of fillers in it, right? Make sure they're a reputable brand, but I've already seen a lot of coaches post about the brands I would recommend. So usually what the coaches are talking about are the right ones to go with.
All right. And does the meal plan, does it cater to vegans at all?
Yeah, we have a full vegan meal plan. So we have the regular plan and the vegan plan. So you can do either one. We even had one of my background cast members is vegan, Donald. He went through the whole program following the vegan plan. He lost 25 pounds. So yeah, it's there. It's great, and it works just as well.
Valerie asks, what's your favorite recipe for dinner, especially for the family that's family friendly? She has a 10-year-old and she has a hard time getting him to eat healthy meals and enjoying them.
I don't know if I have one specific favorite one, but I use a lot of the Fix8 recipes. Like I make the sloppy joes almost every single week because Dom will eat them. I can pack them in his lunch, but it's really easy for me too, especially since I think the sloppy joes are a red and a green, or red and half of a green. So it's easy. Like I could put it on top of a salad, or I could put it on a slice of toast or whatever. So that's a good one. The turkey meatballs and homemade sauce is a great one. Sometimes I'll do it on zoodles or like spaghetti squash instead of pasta if I'm not having a yellow at that particular moment. You guys, I'm really simple. Here's the thing. My schedule is so busy that I don't make super complex meals, and it's just me and Dom. Like I don't have a big family to cook for unless like people are coming over. So I'm not necessarily making huge meals. This is why I usually have things sort of on hand where I can mix and match stuff together, because that just works for Dom and I. But a lot of times I have like a rotisserie chicken on hand, and then I'll just cook up some veggies. Like I said, Dom, I'll cook up like quinoa pasta for him or something like that. But I definitely encourage people to check out the Fix8 recipe, either the cookbook or the cooking show and the recipes on there, because there's so many options. Like it really doesn't have to get boring, and it doesn't have to be hard. There's plenty of things on there that taste amazing. Well, everything tastes amazing, but there's plenty of stuff on there that will taste amazing to a 10-year-old as well. So you just got to sort of look and try things and see.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, I'm scrolling through all these. Melissa had asked about the dumbbells, like the heavy and the medium dumbbells. Like, how do you know which weights to start with or to go with? That was basically her question.
I mean, you guys all should be doing something right now leading up to the launch of 80-Day Obsession. Hopefully you're working out. Hopefully you're working out with weights in some capacity right now. So you should have an idea of what your light, your medium, and your heavy are, based on what you're doing already. So that's the best place to start, is with what you already know. And once you get into the program, it's really hard to say, because like what's heavy for one might be light for somebody else, or vice versa. But once you get into the program, the thing is the way to tell if you're using the right weight is that if in the last 3 reps of that pattern, you're getting tired to the point where you're almost starting to lose your form, but you're not losing your form, that's the right weight. So if I'm doing a 3x10 pattern and I'm doing squats and I'm holding a dumbbell in each hand, by the time I get to rep 7, it should be starting to get hard, so that by the time I get to rep 10, I'm like, yeah, I probably could have only maybe done 1 or 2 more. Like if I could do 5 or 10 more, the weight wasn't the right weight. Mm-hmm. And same thing if I'm doing 2x15. By the time I get to number 12, I should be getting pretty close to the point where I'm like, I need to set these down. I can't do anymore. That's how you know if you're using the right one. If you're just over here, test flying for days and the weights are flying all around, they're too light.
Oops. So you're saying my little 2-pound ones?
Maybe that's right for you. Who knows? I don't think so, but...
I'm just kidding. Laura Jane asked, I have a customer who is asking if the calorie brackets will take height into consideration, since someone who is 150 pounds at 5'9" is different than someone who is 5'3" and 150 pounds.
Yeah, it's technically in the formula, even though you guys don't see it. The way we do it, like there's a way more detailed version of this formula. It's called the Harris-Benedict formula, but then the version that we use is sort of like a simplified version of the Harris-Benedict, because when you look at the Harris-Benedict, it's like this long, and there's addition, multiplication, and subtraction, and da 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 da. But I can tell you, anytime I've run the Harris-Benedict formula against our formula, I come up with the same numbers. So you just have to, when you do the Harris-Benedict, because I know somebody's going to go Google it, the formula is like, you put in your height, you put in your weight, you put in your age, you put in, there's one formula for a female, there's one formula for a male. And then there's also, are you moderately or are you like inactive? And if you're inactive, you're going to multiply by this number. And if you're moderately active, you're going to multiply by this number. And if you're very active, you're going to multiply by this number. And so we sort of take the approach of inactive to moderately active in our formula because most people aren't very active despite what they think. I'm not considered very active. In fact, most days I would still qualify as sedentary no matter what. Like very active is like blue collar construction worker, maybe a nurse that's on their feet for 12 hours, somebody that waits tables for 8 or 9. Like you have to be on your feet the better half of a day to be considered very active. Or you have to be an athlete training for 2, 3, 4 hours a day, like a football player in season training or things like that in order to be considered very active. 99% of us are what is considered sedentary and inactive. We might be busy in our minds, but that doesn't mean that our bodies are doing hard work and burning crazy calories. So my point being is that it's technically already in there. You just don't see it. We're just not, that calculation's been done on the back end.
Now, I notice one of the things that, and we're going to end this probably in about 5 minutes, but one of the things that I experienced at the beginning of the program was a lot of headaches. And I think somebody had mentioned it in the chat as well. What is your advice with the headache issue?
Yeah, the headache issue, despite what people think, you're detoxing. And everybody should expect to go through it for the first week to 2 weeks of the program. You know, especially now, we're in the holiday season, everybody's sort of eating a little bit bad, or not ideal, let me not use the word bad, but not eating ideal, maybe eating foods that you wouldn't typically eat. We're all enjoying holiday parties and a few extra cocktails here and there. So when you start this nutrition program where we clean it all up and we get rid of the processed and the sugars and the alcohol and all of that, and you start working out really hard, your body is going to release all of those toxins into your system. So you're going to feel things like headaches, nausea, tired, achy body, crankiness. All of those things will be sort of symptoms that come in the first week or two. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean you're under eating. It just means your body's detoxing. Drink lots of water, foam roll, Epsom salt baths, all of those things, getting your workout in so you get a good sweat will help you move through the detox phase faster. And the faster you can get through it, the better you're going to feel. So, or maybe you just don't overdo it this holiday season and then you don't have to detox.
Right? Wait, what? I'm just kidding. We're all like, oh, we're just going to explode and splurge everywhere, right? So with rest day, and I know this is one of the questions that I've had often as a coach as well. People feel like anxious to stop, and
right.
I'm trying to encourage them to stop. Like rest day is a straight up rest day. What is your advice as a trainer with this program to take rest day seriously?
Yeah, you guys should have to take a rest day. Look, you can't beat your body up forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and think that it won't eventually get injured or fail or give up on you. Because if you don't take a rest day, eventually your body will schedule one for you and it will be very unpleasant. Trust me, I've learned it the hard way one too many times. In fact, I learned it the hard way right before Summit this year. Not only was I going with, like, my sister had moved in with me with her 2 kids for a while. One of our friends had moved in with us. He had just moved here from out of town, so he was staying with me for a few months. Like, my son's dad was out of the country for 6 weeks, so I had Dom every single day. We were getting ready to start filming 80-Day Obsession. We were getting ready for Summit. Like 9 million things were going on. Dom was on break for summer vacation. Like all this stuff was going on. We were in rehearsals multiple times a day, like multiple hours a day. And I just wasn't resting like I needed to. And I had an old dance injury flare up and it was the worst it's ever been in life. Normally if my disc goes out, I have a bulging disc in my lower spine. If it goes out, I know what my recovery time is. 7 to 10 days, I'm down and out and then I'm better. This was the worst thing ever. It was 3 weeks. It was to the point where I was wondering if my career was over. And it turns out it wasn't my disc that was out. I had strained my entire hip complex from overworking and just not, I was telling myself, I don't have time for a massage. I don't have time for a rest day. I got to get these workouts done. I got to tweak this. I got to work on that. Da, 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 da. I was just down and out, like to the point where I was sobbing regularly, like in pain. And I have a very high pain tolerance. I was at Summit, and in between every event that I had, I was at an acupuncturist or a massage therapist because I couldn't walk. Like that's how bad it was. Like nobody saw that. I got on stage and I did what I needed to do. But you don't want that to happen, because how frustrating is it to be 3 or 4 weeks into the program, loving it, and then you hurt yourself or you strain a muscle because you just didn't take the rest days like I told you to take. It's 1 day a week. Your body needs it and your results will be better for it. So don't be afraid of it. Like, and you have to find balance in life anyways. Like there is a balance between, yes, I exercise regularly, and missing 1 day or taking one rest day doesn't throw me so far off the rails that I can't figure out how to get back to it. If that 1 day off is throwing you off the rails, we got to make some other adjustments because you're not in balance with life in general. So just embrace the rest day, enjoy the rest day. If you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. I filmed 2 videos. One's called Roll and Release. One's called Stretch and Release. You can do those on rest day because that's really great for your body. You want to do a little bit of mild yoga, like some 3-week yoga retreat yoga or something like that, so that you move your body. Those things are okay. But saying like, oh, I'm going to do core to force on Sunday because there's no scheduled workout and I need to get a sweat on, that's not okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question, it's the last 2, same question. How does this way of eating compare to results people get from counting macros?
Well, first of all, it's still counting macros. I've just done the counting for you. So you don't have to sit there and be like, okay, and I had 15 grams of carbohydrates and I had 22 grams of, like, that's the whole beauty of the container system, is that you don't have to sit there all day and do math. The macros have been counted for you. It's a step up from 21 Day Fix or Portion Fix nutrition, because yes, the containers are there. So in Portion Fix, 21 Day Fix, your macros are balanced for the day. Mm-hmm. But the way Time Nutrition works, not only are your macros balanced for the day, your macros are balanced at every single meal. And macros, if you guys don't know what that is your healthy fats, your healthy carbohydrates, and your lean proteins. So every single meal has a steady balance of each of those macronutrients, which is the best, most efficient way to fuel your body, instead of being like, I just ate some chicken, I think I'll eat a piece of fruit a couple hours later, or I hate vegetables, so I'll eat them all in one serving, and now my body can't take in all the nutrients that it could have taken had I spread those vegetables out, because there are only a certain amount of nutrients that your body can take up at one time. That's why when you see people eat like these extravagant amounts of protein, I just kind of chuckle, because I'm like, well, your body's not using that. Like, you might be eating it and you're filling your stomach up and stretching your stomach out, but your body's not, it'll either excrete it as waste or store it as fat. There's only so much it can take and actually utilize in one serving. That's why the servings are not massive. So keep that in mind. But it is technically the same as counting / balancing your macros. I've just already done it for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Autumn. We are almost at an hour, and I know you're in the West Coast time, but for us, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my goodness, y'all need to go to bed. But you guys, thank you for having me on. Seriously, so great. Love it. Super excited to bring you this program in a few weeks. I hope you guys love A Little Obsessed and use it to get ready. For the coaches that are on, I will see you guys in the test group, and you guys have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Autumn.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.